Hello and welcome back to another snapshot slash other sort of video. It's not a snapshot video, it's more of a update review. So we're just going through 1.21 because that released last week. And so we'll just get started. So the first thing is that with the new trial chamber structure, there comes a new map so that we can find those easier. So here's a trial explorer map. Just one, for example, and I grabbed 4 villagers just to kind of show how it's pretty common. It's just as common as the other 2 maps. You don't always get one. You have a pretty good chance of getting one. Right here, it's just the original 2, and then here it's ocean plus the trial. So you're always going to get the ocean. Sometimes you'll get woodland, sometimes you'll get trial, and sometimes you'll just get both, like in that example right there. So it's not guaranteed that you'll get one of these maps, but it's fairly likely. Now, you'll see that on this map, it's that little cube there, right up here. That's what we're looking at, and that's where the trial chamber actually is. So we're going to come over to that and just dig down. We'll dig down right next to the water here. Of course, you will have to dig down in order to find this. If you find it in a cave like this, you'll actually see some of the new blocks, which are tough bricks. That's the main block that you'll see on the outside of this structure, and then you'll just mine your way in. And then once you enter it, you get a new achievement, advancement, whatever. So when you're in these trial chambers, you'll find that there are new spawners. These are the trial spawners. And you will see that this one is a skeleton one for a couple reasons. One, you can see a skeleton in there just like the other spawners, but there's also the bone blocks here. That tells you, 1, that it's a spawner, and 2, that it's a skeleton spawner with the bone blocks specifically. There's different blocks for each mob. So, for example, there's 2 poisonous mobs that are in the trial chambers, the cave spiders and the bogged. Bogged are new skeletons, and each of those they'll have 2 different mushroom types, I think, and Podzol, and then the spider one will have for sure cobwebs. I don't remember if the skeleton debugged has any bone blocks, but it has the Podzol and mushrooms for sure that I do remember. So there's that, and then there's of course stray, husk, zombie, silverfish, breeze, which we'll take a look at. I believe spider, but I don't remember. Cave spider, bogged, and then I believe there's a couple others that I'm not remembering that are also a part of them. You'll see here this is a vault. This requires a vault key, and you can only open each vault once per player. So if I grab myself a key, trial key, there we go, that's what it's called. If I grab myself a trial key and I open this, 1, you get an advancement, and you can get a variety of things. I believe in this vault you can get one of the music discs, and I believe that's Precipice, and all 3 of the music discs are really cool. This one you get Precipice specifically. I believe one of the armor trims and one of the banner patterns you can also get from this vault. I don't remember exactly, but I believe that is the case. Now you might be wondering, how do you get these trial keys? And that is by completing the spawners, the trial spawners. So once you are in survival, so we'll switch to survival real quick just to show. Once you're in survival, the particles start up just as if it's just because they notice a player, and so they're like, oh, so there's a player, we gotta start spawning mobs. Then, of course, you'll be killing the skeletons or whatever mob it is and you'll get more mobs from each spawner spawning, and once it's done spawning mobs, you'll hear a sound cue. And that will for sure tell you that that one is done. And I believe that one's close, but I don't know for sure. This one is done. So you heard the dong, kind of sounded like amethyst. And that one specifically dropped a key. And the amount of rewards will vary based on how many players actually see the spawner. And it can be any time throughout the spawner's activity. So while a spawner is active, if I had a friend or two on and they came over and saw this spawner in survival, it only activates when you're in survival, then the rewards would increase and the mobs would also increase. So it's a scaling thing, so it's a greater challenge but greater rewards. That's 2 keys in a row. I've never had that happen before. It is a 50-50 chance that you get keys or food. The food is usually worse with the regular version. It's greater risk, but greater rewards, so the food is better. That's 3 keys in a row. I have never seen those. Greater risk, greater reward, and the food is more when there's more players. The ominous vault that you'll see here, this is only when you partake in ominous trials, and you might be wondering, how do you do an ominous trial? Well, if you have some more of these vaults here, and I'm just going to place a few down just because I don't want to go hunting for any vaults. I'll open each of them. As you open these, you have a chance to get an ominous bottle. This one right here gave me an ominous bottle. This one gives you Bad Omen. And so Bad Omen is now in a bottle. I think that was something that was in a snapshot for one of the minor releases of 1.20. I don't remember exactly. Bad Omen can drop from the raid captains. I don't remember if it's just a random level for the captains or not. When you're looking through the vaults, it's random 1 to 2 levels for the regular vaults here, and it's the levels 3 through 5 for the ominous vault in this one. Now, another important thing is that you do not want to break these spawners, these trial spawners, because they do every so often. I think it's maybe like 20 minutes. I don't remember exactly how long it takes for it to recharge, but it will recharge and spawn more mobs afterwards, so you can keep coming back to the same one for more food, for more keys. Not that you can find a whole lot of keys, or not that you can find a whole lot of vaults in here, but you can come back for lots of food, basically. Now, when I drink this potion, you'll see that right here, this part of Lunar Client, because I like to use Lunar Client, there's a new icon. So that's a change that was in one of the snapshots. And if I switch over to survival mode real quick, you'll see lots of things start happening. These have blue instead of the orange, and they took over. So regular trials and then trial omen trials are very different. They're the same but different. So through the trial omen, you'll get stronger mobs. As you can see here, these guys have enchanted armor and most of the time enchanted bows. These guys have got diamond chestplates, so yes, you can fight diamond armored mobs through these trials, and it'll spawn more mobs, but the reward will be greater. And so you want to do these so that you can get ominous keys, and ominous keys are the only keys that will open up that vault right there. So I'm just gonna kill some skeletons for a little bit just so that we can see what the rewards are. Alright, so this one dropped out some golden carrots. Only a few, because it's one player, but that is perfectly fine. So the chance of getting an ominous key is like 30% chance, versus with the regular trial keys on a regular trial, that's 50%. And another thing is, even if you've completed one of the spawners for regular trial, you can start an ominous one and just get more rewards, basically. Granted, it's a lot harder, and none of the skeletons will, like, none of the skeletons, husks, zombies, whatever can wear armor, they won't drop any of the gear, because they're not supposed to. So, you're just dealing with a hard difficulty, right, with the Trial Omen. Another thing with the Trial Omen is that when you're in survival, I'm gonna come down here just to show it. When you're in survival, there's going to be some, like, things that drop from the sky. You can see it over there, that's fire charge. And this is a new effect, oozing, that we will take a look at later. So it's got lots of effects, it's got fire, like, lots of things start happening, it becomes just chaotic. And so, when you complete these ominous trials, you should get food, or an ominous key. Hopefully this one will give me a key. No, it won't. That's okay. So, the ominous keys, again, are the only keys that will open these vaults. You get another achievement for opening these vaults, and another thing is you can get much stronger gear from these ominous vaults. So here you saw I got diamonds, I got slowness arrows, which aren't very good, and I got a diamond chestplate with thorns. And then I also got a flow armor trim, which is the specific one to the ominous vaults, and the bolt armor trim I got from all of the vaults that I just placed here. Over here you saw that a couple slimes came out of that skeleton. That was a skeleton with oozing on him. Again, we'll come back to that because the potions are a little bit specific, and I want to talk about those a little bit more in depth just a little bit later. So, as you're going through these trial chambers, you'll come across a few ominous vaults just throughout. Like, a lot of times there's some grates that you'll have to break through, like for this one. So we'll open this one too, see if we get anything. That's a notch apple, that's really good. You overall get more rewards from the ominous vault as well, so it's usually a really good idea. This is just a chest that you can find. Most trial chambers, I think, have this sort of room where it's got this staircase that leads into another one, and it's got this vault and this chest. There's only a few chests, like actual chests that actually have loot, like that one. Most of the time you'll have to break pots, which have some new sherds every once in a while, which have some minor rewards. There's another new sherd. This is scraped. That one was, I believe, right, this one's called Guster. And then there's Breeze, or no, not Breeze, Flow. Flow is for that one. And you'll find some traps, not many compared to some of the other structures that have existed for a while. Barrels will usually give you some loot, although the loot from there is not very good, frankly. Like, for example, this one's got hanging signs. The honeycomb is good for keeping the lights bright. I have Fulbright from Lunar Client, so it's just bright so that you guys can see everything, whereas normally it's a lot darker, and like you'll have to go through and like scrape these with your axe just so that you can get some stuff open. Actually, I've never seen something generate like this. There are some chests also that you can find through a door that usually has some good loot. I don't know where to find them. They're kind of rare. I wouldn't say that they are fully rare, but they are kind of rare. And you can always tell apart regular vaults from ominous vaults. Just quick look here. That's a regular vault. This is an ominous vault. It's got the copper grate, the candles, all of that sort of fun stuff. We're gonna open this vault, see if we get something fun. We get a diamond block. That is actually really fun. Diamonds, always great. It seems pretty likely that you will get diamonds from those vaults, so you don't have to worry too much about getting diamond gear. Starting off with iron gear for sure is a great idea, in my opinion. And of course, when you're in a room with the spider and the breeze, or just like the face, it's not always a spider and a breeze, it's sometimes just two of the same, or it can be any of the mobs that you can find in here. I'm pretty sure. In that room, there's another ominous vault right above the door, and you can find some stuff. And of course, I just got an enchanted crossbow, which, I mean, you guys already knew that you could get enchanted gear from those vaults. These chests also have honeycomb, or an axe, or just sticks, just to try and help show that yes, you want to scrape the bulbs, because these are new copper bulbs, and there's a lot of new blocks that you've probably been seeing, and I personally think that they look really good. Okay, I believe this room might have, this room does have a breeze spawner. So we're gonna open this vault and then take a look at the breezes. Oh, I'm getting so unlucky with those. I'm opening the vaults on purpose because I'm trying to find a certain item that can drop from them. But if we don't find them, that's okay. So we're gonna get a breeze to spawn. This is the breeze. Hello. He's a new mob. Very, very fun, bouncy kind of guy. The one thing with the breezes is you cannot hit them with arrows, because of course they're just immune. They will launch you up too if they hit you right. Oh, that's poison. I forgot that I still had trial element active. And once you kill a breeze, you can get a breeze rod. Oh, so killing breezes will get you a breeze rod. And breeze rods can craft into 4 wind charges. And wind charges are really fun because you can hit enemies like that, and they will actually activate, just like that, redstone stuff. All redstone. So breeze charges, whether they're thrown from the breeze or from you, will activate redstone, which is actually really cool that there's a projectile that will do that. You can harm enemies when you hit them directly, and you can launch them up if you hit it just right. And you can hit them up just like the breezes do. They like to hit you up quite high. You can also jump and go really high with that, which is actually kind of fun once you know how to do it. I find it really fun. And it's all about timing, so you gotta jump and throw it at the same time. And you get an achievement for going up 8 blocks when you first do that. So it's actually, it's a good thing to try. And of course, you can also throw it down to save or fall. So if I go into, not spectator. If I go into survival, let this guy boost me up, I can save myself. That right there was another effect that we will go over. That one is weaving. Again, we'll go over these because there's a bunch that exist. And I saved myself. So having wind charges almost might be a better thing than water because it's easier to time than water buckets. So it's an easier clutch method. Alright, we're gonna bring ourselves a bogged in here just to show what they look like, because bogged are really cool. So this is a bogged. He's a new skeleton variant. Will shoot poison arrows. They can spawn in the regular swamp. I think maybe oh yeah, both swamps. They can spawn in both swamps, and skeletons will also spawn, so it's both of them. It's just a lesser chance for the bog to spawn. They shoot poisonous arrows, and when you have a swarm of them, it's utter chaos. So make sure that you're well prepared with like shields and such, because these guys are crazy good, especially if you get multiple of them. So if I go into survival, that's 2 hearts without armor, plus whatever the poison's gonna do to me. So that's a lot of damage. And if I spawn a few, grab myself. Alright, so we've got a new item that you can get from the Ominous Vaults, and that is the heavy core. I didn't get one, so I just grabbed one. It's like a pretty rare chance actually to get a heavy core, and combining the breeze rod and the heavy core, you get a mace, and we'll take that out in a second just to show. Breeze rod makes 4 wind charges. Simple. Alright, so this mace. Maces deal extra damage for every block that you fall. So we're going to just trap these villagers in here just a little bit and just make this an easier time to slay them. So we're gonna go up, actually not quite that high, we're gonna go up from this high and kill. And we'll even go switch into survival just to, alright, we'll try that again. And that time I certainly could have died, and I didn't. And that was because when you hit something on your way down, you, 1, deal more damage, and as you're falling, if you actually land that, you save yourself. So you don't take damage. It's like the wind charge, perhaps, if you can actually land the hit. Otherwise you will take all of the damage. So you want to try and be cautious about how you do it. Alright, so I did a bunch of enchanting, and I basically filled up my entire inventory, and I only got 2 enchantments other than Unbreaking. Unbreaking was like the one constant that I seem to always get with the maxed out enchantment setup here. So Density is the very most common that you can get, and Breach is very uncommon. You can get it every once in a while. It took me like 30 maces, or okay, not quite 30 maces, it was like 18 maces before I actually got any Breach, and even then it was only Breach 3 and Breach 2 that I saw. So it might take you quite a few heavy cores in order to actually get Breach, or you can for sure get Breach, probably Windburst 3, or just Windburst at all, from the Ominous Vaults. So you'll have to get lucky, I guess, because Density, you can get, Density is an easy one to talk about too. For every block you fall, and for each level, 1 damage is added. So for each level 1 block is added, or 1 damage is added per block fallen. So let's say you're falling, you've got Density 5, that'll be 5 blocks per 5 damage per 1 block that you fall. Breach, I believe, is because it goes to Breach 4, I believe it's a 60% total armor piercing sort of thing. So each level is 15% piercing through armor. And these two cannot go together, so density does not go with breach, and breach does not go with density. But wind burst goes with both of them. So you can actually combine both of these. If I were to grab myself an anvil and put those together, you could see wind burst and breach go together, and wind burst and density go together. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now I'm going to grab myself a warden, just because they have lots of health, and I don't really want to have to keep spawning any mobs in. So we'll put a warden in this box here. We're going to turn the time to day, and we're going to start with density. So we're going to go up. So we'll start from 72, and we'll go 10 blocks. So 82, and that probably did quite a bit of damage to him, but wasn't enough to kill him because of course he has got a lot of health. So the main damage that a mace has, and I forgot to talk about this, is 6 attack damage, and the attack speed is 0.6. That's to help with the wind burst one. So if we go up to 92, he should die, theoretically. No, he doesn't. I forget how much health these guys have. You have to fall quite a big distance if you want to kill a warden. You certainly could actually do it, as long as you actually land the hit. So that one was 120. And you do get an achievement if you deal over 50 hearts in a single hit, and that's overkill. And that works with every mob. It doesn't have to be like the warden or something that has more than 100 or more than 50 health. So you can do that with any mob. Wardens are ridiculously hard to kill, but that's okay. We're going to spawn another warden. Start from a low height. We're going to do wind burst for this one. And you get launched up. So for each level of wind burst, you get launched up 7 blocks. So wind burst 1, 7 blocks, wind burst 2, 14 blocks, and wind burst 3, 21 blocks, which is ridiculous. And combining that with density, well, that would be ridiculous. That's just a really strong mace you got there. And you can just keep the chain going as long as there's mobs that you can attack. So if we just add a few wardens here, you could see that it just gets ridiculous. Now, the other thing with the mace that we haven't seen a lot of, just because of the tight spaces that the mobs have been in, is that we're going to break them out just for a quick second here, just to show this. There's a knockback effect. It's not huge with the wardens. It's a little bit bigger with some of the other mobs. And they do get knocked back quite a bit. It's a lot more when it's not wardens, just because I think wardens are just heavy, but they have a lot of health and it's easier to showcase things. And then density, it just breaks through armor, so if something has armor, you can just pow, and they're dead. And of course, as you're falling, you do critical damage, so it's like damage plus the crit. So yeah, you do a lot of damage. Just a lot of damage. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the new potion effects, and those are Infested, Oozing, Weaving, and Wind Charged. You can make each of these in the brewing stand, and I believe you'll have to check my video when I talked about it when they first were introduced, but I believe for infested you use a stone block, oozing you use a slime block, weaving you use a cobweb, and then for wind charged, I believe it's either the breeze rod or the wind charge. I don't remember which, but it's one of the two of those. So I've got my lovely test subject pigs here, and I'm going to drop a potion of infested on this set here, and I'm just gonna punch them a little bit because the effect is only pain induced. So it's when you have the effect, every time you get hit, you have a chance of the mob or you, whatever has the infested effect, has a chance of a silverfish coming out. And it looks like we get about 2 silverfish, so 1 per pig. It's not a terrible rate. Now we're gonna take a look at oozing with these 2 pigs here, and I'm just gonna kill them because this one happens only on death, and this one we saw earlier with the skeleton. Two medium-sized slimes just pop out, and that's all it is. Just 2 medium-sized slimes. I've got myself 4 more recruits. This one is for weaving, so we'll get these guys. And for their death, there's like up to 3 cobwebs that spawn just around when they die. And another thing with weaving is if you have weaving, you move a little bit faster through cobwebs than if you don't have weaving. So it's a benefit, actually. So weaving is actually overall better than it is negative. So it's more helpful than it is negative. And then for wind charging, this one's an easy one to take a look at. It's also when they die, it just summons a wind charge when they die. That's all it is. We'll take a quick look at the crafter, and there's just a few things that we'll take a look with him. So with the crafter, the blocks, when they're going in through a hopper, will only go in per, they'll go in based on order. So this is the first slot, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth slot down here. For this example, we're just gonna make a bunch of chests, just because chests are easy to make and it's easy to show. When there's no input, you can actually click each slot just to specify what you want to make. So for example, you could have one where it's a sword, so you'd click out the 2 verticals on the side, or 2 of the verticals, and then just make sure that it's like stick, or diamond stick, or iron ingot stick, or however it is that you're crafting the swords, like whichever sword that you are crafting. So you can only craft things with the crafter through redstone, hence why I'm just putting a bunch of planks in this hopper here. And there's a bit of an animation that happens when I flick this lever, so pay close attention to the block. It was a little hard to see, but the mouth opened, this lever flipped up, and a couple other things happened. The crafting grid turned on, and when the lever was switched on, then these 2 dots back in the back also were on. And of course you could just set this to a repeating loop. So if I grab myself some observers, place one there, place one there, and it'll just craft a bunch of chests quite quickly. Alright, so for the armor trims, this one here, this is Bolt. This is the one that you can get from the regular vault. And then this one over here is Flow. This is from the Ominous Vault. And I don't remember where you can get the Guster banner pattern. That's this banner, and the Flow banner pattern. I don't remember which vault gives which one. I'm pretty sure one goes to each vault. I just don't remember which goes to which. And then finally, we've got the music discs, where you can get Precipice, which is like the mix of both of the creators. Precipice you get from the regular vault. The music box version of Creator you get from the pots, and the full version of Creator you get from the Ominous Vaults. And honestly, I prefer Creator. I think Creator's the best one. We're gonna take a listen to the Creator box version while we take a look at the new tough blocks, which there's bricks, chiseled bricks, and just chiseled tough itself, as well as stair slab wall variants of both of those, as well as polished tough. And we've got more tough blocks. That's all. I'm happy about that because I like tough, but it's kind of boring by itself. Now we've got more stuff, so now I'll probably be using like tough bricks, because tough bricks are really cool. Chiseled tough bricks are really cool. So there's all that. And then there's copper, which didn't had as many blocks per se, but also at the same time there's all the oxidation levels and then the waxed versions. So technically it added more, but also at the same time I don't think it really added all that many. And that has the chiseled, the grate, and the door, trapdoor, and copper bulb. I believe with the door and trapdoor you craft them with the block of copper, but I can't remember if you do it with the block or with the ingot, because there's some talk about it changing. I don't remember. But that is everything new to 1.21. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Bye!